really excited to have our next conversation here with another technology platform that's revolutionizing what's going on in healthcare today. And to talk about that is, we have both Jay Williams, who's the President and Chief Technology Officer of SunVia, as well as Charles Owens, who's the Chief Clinical Informatics Officer from One True Health. Welcome to you both. Thanks for joining the program.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stan. Thanks for having us.
It really is great to have you help explain what is happening in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and obviously the metaverse when people are trying to really grasp what that is, since there's so much conflicting information. Obviously, large enterprises don't want to miss the train, but at the same time, they're very nervous about getting into something that could be steeped in financial and regulatory risk. So let's start off with, and Dr. Owen, you can lead this one, but what does it mean to you as an emergency medicine doctor when people say the word move medicine into the metaverse? What does that mean to you?
Stan, over the course of my career, over 40 years in emergency medicine, I've had over 160,000 interactions with patients, and each of them are subject kind of the same foundational structure. You've got a patient who's ultimately the source of all data and information. You have a provider who's responsible for applying their knowledge and experience to the problems or the goals of the individual patient. And then you've got the communications infrastructure, communication of both data and then also the real-time personal communications. And all historical interactions have been subject to limitations that come from how we do that. For me, moving medicine into the metaverse, first of all, since the patient is the source of all data and information, they should own and control that data. They should be ultimately, have in their domain, in their control, the ability to expose information that's appropriate to the need that they're interacting with a practitioner for. The practitioner historically has been limited to just their own personal knowledge and experience, and then whatever library of books behind them or the up-to-date scans that they're doing, trying to figure things out. But again, just limited by their own knowledge and experience. And then the communication methodologies with respect to data, anyone who practices or even visits doctors knows how painful and difficult sharing of patient records can be. There's always either too much or too little data and information. In addition, you've got just the interaction. Most of healthcare, certainly until recently, required a face-to-face interaction. So the metaverse sort of moves the whole platform and applies new capabilities. Patients become the owners of their information. They expose to the practitioner what's needed. The practitioner has the availability of real-time, both human and artificial intelligence applications that can participate in the information exchange. And you've got a communications infrastructure, and I mean to go well beyond just the communications, the voice or video or whatever, to actually be the presentation of information that's meaningful in the context of that individual patient's and problem. So it's a new paradigm. You eliminate the requirement for face-to-face. You give the information that's necessary and in a form that's useful to the practitioner. You augment and supplement their own personal knowledge with all of the resources of both human and artificial intelligence that are out there to help. And it just moves the paradigm. It's a new opportunity to practice good medicine. That's all speaking at the individual level. Move that into the population level by leveraging the constructs of federated learning, et cetera. And I think it provides the optimal both for the individual patient and for population health.
That's a terrific explanation. And I think one of the more detailed explanations I think the ecosystem in digital health has heard of, and really appreciate the thoughtfulness and the thoroughness of that answer. And along those lines, can you describe your view of medicine ultimately in the metaverse and what we need to get there, since a lot of it's out there, but we're not really seeing it yet?
Well, let me do that in the form of a use case. Behind me, you're seeing my background is the Big Bend region of Texas. Part of my practice over my years has been in a critical access hospital that covers 14,000 square miles of territory with a single 25-bed hospital and a group of family practitioners. Imagine, and this is a real scenario, I'm sitting there waiting to see one of the dozen patients I might see in a day, and it happens it's a visitor from Germany who had a recent trip to sub-Saharan Africa, and he has developed night fever, sweats, and a rash And so I'm presented with a concern about some form of obscure tropical medicine disease. Believe me, after 40 years, I know a whole lot about, or I know very little about a whole lot of things. That's the realm of an emergency physician. So imagine then my ability, rather than trying to ascertain all of the important facts of this case and come up with a reasonable diagnosis, or at least a treatment strategy, and move that into the metaverse, where I have the ability to see a comprehensive view of where that patient has been, where their travels have been, what their risks are in those different areas, bring in an expert either real time to help me view the rash, have, I've recently found that somebody has taken the ChatGPT engine and integrated or imbibed all of Medline and PubMed. And so you have then the ability to actually have an informed construct informing the strategy. So that to me is what moves medicine into the metaverse, supplementing my own knowledge and abilities. I'll never be replaced as an observer. Physicians largely need to be trained observers, where they're ascertaining the truth or sorting through different components, but with the aid of, again, intelligent resources that are out there that will only augment my practice.
That's impressive. And let's jump over to you, Jay. If you could give the audience again like a 1-minute background of yourself, and then tell us a little bit more about what you see as the most critical enabling technologies that are going to help move the practice of medicine into the metaverse.
Awesome. Well, so thanks again for having me on. So, I started working on the internet back when we called sending a file. And so, as we began to build out the internet, we built a lot of things into it to create anonymity, to create scalability, to create the ability for 57% of the world to all be connected to each other. However, we didn't actually put all of the things in place to actually protect ourselves and to create the kinds of identities online that we have offline, which has led to all kinds of challenges around everything that we do. And so we're doing two parts of things at our company. One is we founded a Swiss organization that's a nonprofit organization called ARC Association that's allowing people to actually own their own identity legally. We actually have a legal structure there through the nonprofit that people can actually own their own identity and then apply that to all of the other places where we currently don't have the ability to assert ownership of our identity. With everything we do, frankly, where we lease or have signed a EULA or all of those kinds of things. Secondarily, we've made that validation process available through an API structure to many of our healthcare partners so that they can engage in that validation of anything that goes on inside the metaverse. One of the challenges with the metaverse, of course, is that, it's hard to tell whether it's you, a bot, someone else. I sit on a couple of committees with a group called the W3C, which is the standards body for many of the internet-based standards. I sit on decentralized identity, which is the one about how we know that when we see our names over here, like right now, do I know that's Stan? Well, I don't know. It might be Stan. Is that Dr. Owen? I don't know. It might be Dr. Owen. We don't actually have a way to click on that and say, am I really who I say I am? And secondarily, particularly for the medical profession, especially now with so many distance diagnostics and things like that, how do you even know that, Dr. Owen down there actually is a doctor, right? How do we verify the credentials of those people that are actually asserting themselves to be the practitioners that are going to help us with everything that we do? So, our tools are designed to work with all of the different, parts of the metaverse and all of the different things to bring together that concept of validation and verification of the credentials. We don't believe there's ever going to be one provider of those things. Google's not going to solve all our problems. Microsoft isn't going to solve all our problems. Cerner isn't going to, no one's going to solve all of our problems. And so we believe that we have to have an integration set of tools to allow us all to interoperate and be able to handle the validation and the certification of all of the different, folks and objects like our data in the metaverse.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both for today. Really appreciate your time.